Okay, so new catalog, 120 years of Lionel. They started off in 1900, as everybody knows. And they've got a table of contents. I'm really not going to get into the American Flyer or the HO stuff because it's not in here anyway. And I'm mainly going to focus on the O scale stuff, although there is some O scale, some O gauge stuff that I want to look at too. And I got a picture of the crew. There's Dave Olson. And they got a letter from the company and, and a very abbreviated timeline of Lionel. Very abbreviated. So before I talk about what's in the catalog, I should probably go over the purpose of the catalog. Oftentimes when people see my videos on varying trains, they'll say, how do I get that? How do I get that? They'll watch a video, a 5-year-old video of a Vision Line engine, and they'll say, where can I buy it? I called the dealer, but they don't have any. And I say, well, of course they don't have any. It was made 5 years ago. The only place you're going to find it now is on eBay or maybe at a train show. And so for that reason, one of these days, I've always wanted to do a video to explain how the process works, a separate video. But just to explain how it works, the entire model train industry, at least in O scale, relies on pre-ordering. And so what they do is twice a year, they put out a catalog, and you look through the catalog and you find the items that you want, and you order those items, you pre-order them with your dealer. In my case, I use Legacy Station. And your dealer then turns those orders into Lionel, and there's usually a deadline for the orders. And based on those pre-orders, Lionel knows how many of each model to make. And you can see that it says built to order on a lot of these things. That's because the number they build is determined by, built to order, is determined by how many orders they get. So if they get 1,000 orders, they'll build 1,000. I'm guessing they probably build a little bit more, maybe a few more, just to have some extras. But generally speaking, the number they build is based on the number that are ordered. And so that's why pre-ordering is so important in this hobby. Everything hinges on pre-ordering your engines. If you're buying the engines after the fact, after the catalog has come out, you're kind of doing it backwards, and you're never going to really be able to easily get the stuff that you want to get. The best way to ensure the stuff that you get the stuff you want to get is to pre-order it. So what I'm doing right now is looking through this catalog and deciding what I want, and then I'll turn that list into Legacy Station. They'll in turn make the order with Lionel, and then these things will start shipping maybe later this year or sometime next year. Usually takes about, a year or so for things to start showing up. And that's why in my reviews, you'll hear me say, when I talk about an engine in my product reviews, you'll hear me say, well, this engine was cataloged in the 2020 Volume 1 catalog, and they started shipping in late 2021. That's what I'm talking about. It was cataloged first, you pre-order it, and then it finally ships later on. It's not like a car or something where they make it every single year. They put it in the catalog, they make them, and then they're done. So if you don't get it, if you don't pre-order it, there's a chance you might not be able to get it, and you'll have to wait until they do it again, which might be 5, 10, 15, 20 years. You never know. So anyway, that being said, and I'm sure most of you guys know that anyway, but a lot of people don't. It's surprising the amount of people that don't know that. But anyway, so we start off with the Vision Line GS series, and we've got the Lionel Limited, which I think is really cool looking. I'm not sure if I want to get it or not. The problem with, I'm really happy that they brought out the Vision Line GS. Let me see if I can find the intro to it. This is the Lionel Limited 1 anniversary set. Then they've got a couple 120th anniversary Lion Chief 2 sets. A couple more. And then we've got the Vision Line GS series. So as I said a few minutes ago, they made a ton of these in the catalog. They're offering a ton of different variations from the GS1 to the GS6. The good news is that that's a lot of variety to choose from. The bad news is that at $2,000 a pop, very few people are going to be able to order every single GS series engine that they're making. I'm probably going to order 2, so I'm trying to narrow down which 2 that I want to get. And while the anniversary set back here is very cool looking, I don't know if I'm going to get that or not. I just don't know. I'm very torn on a lot of this stuff, and I'll talk about it. So with the new Vision Line GS series, they've got 2 new features. They've got the bicolor LED classification lights, which is really neat. And then they've got the reciprocating cylinder steam, which is an improvement on the already existing cylinder steam effect. So very, very cool. And it looks like on these engines, what they did is you can either have the whistle steam smoke effect or the dynamo smoke effect. And which one you get depends on which model you order. And I think it was actually fairly smart of them to do it that way, because what they did is on the engines where the whistle is up close to the smokestack, they eliminated the whistle steam smoke effect and instead added the dynamo smoke effect. Whereas on the engines where the whistle was way in the back, they kept the whistle steam smoke effect and did not do the dynamo smoke effect. So I think that's kind of cool. It's a way to add some variations on the engines without making them even more expensive than they already are. Because if they did the whistle steam and the dynamo, well, then you'd be really, if you had the whistle steam, the cylinder steam, and the dynamo steam, you're talking a lot of smoke units, and that would raise the price even more. So anyway, I'll come back to these if I remember. But with the GS series, we've got the GS1 brass hybrid. I believe I'm going to order the brass hybrid, this one right here, the pilot version, because I always like these unpainted pilot versions. So I think this one is a definite maybe. And then, you've got the other GS1s, you've got the GS2s, you've got the Southern Pacific Lark, which is really neat looking. That's a GS2. Then you got the GS3s. This one is really cool. This one with all the flags. I really like that one. But that's in the maybe pile because it has all these flags that you can attach to it. I think that's really cool. Then we've got the Golden State. That looks really nice. I mean, I wish I could get all these, but there's just no way I can do it. Legacy Station they said they had one guy call and he ordered one of every one, a GS1 through a GS6. I think that's pretty cool. But then we got the GS4. I'm sure that's going to be very popular. Freedom Train with the GS4. Chessie Steam Special with the GS4. This is another maybe for me because I got my cat Chessie, so I kind of like ordering Chessie stuff now. So that's very cool. And then they've got some GS4 sets, and this is a definite maybe for me because I figure, if I'm going to get a Vision Line engine, why not get a set? And it might come with a nice box and everything, and it's got a camera on the caboose and a sound car and all sorts of cool stuff. So this is high on the list, the GS4 set. Then we've got the GS5 and then the GS6 and the Western Pacific one. So there is a ton of variety. And like I kind of said, in my opinion, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. I think it was smart of Lionel to do it this way because you get lots of variety, and yet they're only using one or 2 toolings for these. So I think they're maximizing their use of the tooling and therefore, making as much money off the tooling as they can. So I think it's a smart business thing, but from a customer perspective, it's almost too much. It's, I don't know what to choose. I don't know. Then they've got the Vision Line baggage cars. Those are not new. I've already got one of those. Those are nice. They got some more Vision Line Reefers. I'm not going to get any of those because I already have plenty of them. I am going to get the Vision Line stock cars. or at least I was thinking of getting them, but that GS4 set, I can hear Chessie trying to get in the basement door. That GS4 set comes with a sound stock car, I believe. So I don't know if I'll get the 3-pack or not. And then we get to the rest of the Legacy Steam stuff. This, I think, is a redo. They put one of these out a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken, and I already have one. So, although I do like the Conrail T1 here. That's kind of cool. And then the B6, I believe they did this a few years ago as well. I've already got one of these. I might get another one. I don't know. We'll see. I have to really pick and choose what I get because of all those GS series locomotives. It doesn't leave a lot of wiggle room for the other stuff in the catalog. Like it's got some auxiliary water tanks that have rail sounds, which I think is cool. This would be a nice thing to add if you have a non-rail sounds engine. If you have a conventional engine, you could add one of these tenders and get some sounds, potentially. Then we get to the diesels. And I think a lot of these are sort of repeats. We got the E8s, which I think they did those a few years ago. I may be wrong. I'm probably not going to order one of these. Although that Southern does look awfully tempting. Then we got the Trainmaster. I've already got a Legacy Trainmaster, so I probably won't order one of these. I wish I could. I'd probably get the Virginian. Then there's the SD40. I've already got plenty of SD40s, so I don't need, although I do like this Chicago Northwestern. There's always something to tempt you, even if you already have it. They do a good job of tempting you. Then we've got some ES44s, of course. I probably won't get one of these, although, again, I am tempted by, something like this red CSX one right here. And then we've got a passenger set, an E8 passenger set, and I imagine these are probably a way for them to sort of, help sell more of these E8s when they put it in a set. We got a Trainmaster set, an SD40 set, and I kind of like this. I like that they're selling the engines by themselves and with a set. If I was going to buy a Trainmaster, for instance, why not get the set? Because you get all these cars too, Or get the SD40 set. This one looks really nice. I like this. Then we got some passenger cars. Those look nice. More passenger cars, Vista Dome cars with the camera. I think I've already got one of those, so I won't be ordering those. Then we got these beer cars, and they don't look like beer cars to me, but I guess, what do I know? It says new tooling. So I may get one of these just to check it out. I might get the Coors. And then we've got the Friendship Train PS1 box cars. I'm not going to order one of those. Okay. Smoking mechanical reefers. Now, I did want to talk about this. This is the smoking reefer that was in the Lionel Ice Cold Express set, which many people have wanted to buy from me over the years. And I've told them, no, don't buy it from me. It's not worth it. Because the Ice Cold Express set was one of the few Lionel sets I have where it was not a well-executed set. The engine and the caboose were perfectly fine. It was these cars that were such a problem. And what I'm wondering is whether they've improved the smoke unit on these cars. I don't know. I'm going to have to ask Dave at Lionel if they've improved the smoke unit. But if they haven't, boy, I don't know if I would get one of these. The smoke unit in this car, when I got it in the Ice Cold Express set, was so bad. I had to redesign the whole thing. And now it works okay because I added a bunch of parts to it. I actually added a small fan in there to help blow the smoke out. One of these days I'll have to show that. Maybe I have. I think I already showed that in a video, but yeah, I don't know if these are going to be good or not. We'll have to see. I may order one just out of sheer curiosity on if they've improved the mechanism. And also, the trucks were not very well designed. They were very clunky, and whole lot of pieces. Pieces would fall off all the time. They just weren't that well made. And that's why I always tell people, I know you like the Ice Cold Express set, but trust me, you don't want it because these cars have been very problematic for me over the years. I like the Area 51 then. Milk cars. I don't have one of these. Maybe I'll get one. I don't know. Then we've got some Hopper 3-packs. Can't go wrong with those. And some rotary gondolas. And we've got more gondolas and cabooses with the camera. This is nice. They're doing some older cabooses with the camera instead of the more modern ones. They've got a kind of an old school one here. I like that. That's kind of neat. I might get one of those. Then we've got some box cars and some gondolas. Bulkhead flat cars. I might get one of these. Maybe one of these. We'll see. And that's the end of the O-scale section. And let me check the comments, make sure I'm not boring anybody to tears. If I am boring you guys, let me know and we can do something else. So let me go back for a minute and show you some of the stuff that I sort of skipped over real quick. Starting with the anniversary set. I like this. I just don't know if I'm going to get it because there's so much to choose from. Again, like I said, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. I think someone said they're limiting these to 120 pieces. Yeah, production run of only 120 pieces and uniquely numbered. So for that reason alone, I may get this, but I just don't know. I wish it was a whole set. I wish they would do an entire set with a really nice box, have all of this stuff in there. That would be really cool, but you're going to have to order the engine and then the passenger cars and the caboose if you want it. So it's all piecemeal. I wish it was one big set. And then I want to look at these again. This is a cool set, this Lion Chief 2 Super Chief set. It comes with the operating milk car and the platform and the operating log dump car. It's kind of a throwback to post-war, almost like a post-war celebration. They got a gateman again, got a trolley, and the freight station. So this is kind of a cool set. I thought about maybe getting this, but for $1,000, gosh, I think I can spend that better. But it's a nice set. If I didn't already have, I already have some of these, and I've already got a milk car and a log car. So if I didn't have any of this stuff, I would think about getting it. But $9.99, that's a pretty high price for a Lion Chief set. If it was like $8.99, I think, or $7.99, I think it might be a little better. Then we've got another set with the dump car. This one's kind of cool. How much is this one? Oh, $2.99. But this is just Lion Chief, not Lion Chief 2. So probably not a bad deal. And then we've got the milk car by itself. Some Angela Trotta Thomas cars. So I wanted to go back to those real quick because I kind of skipped over them. And then, in the O gauge section, there's a lot of stuff in here. I'm gonna kind of glance over it because I don't get a lot of O gauge stuff, but we'll kind of glance over it real quick, and see if there's anything interesting. I like the 06 OT. And this is Lion Chief Plus 2. So these might be pretty good. This Virginian right here, I think, these right here, the Alleghenies, I think those might be pretty popular. It's $1,100. Little expensive, but I think I think these might be very popular. These two. So I like these. And then we've got the Berkshires, of course. Got some F3s. These are kind of cool. I like that. So they got some nice Lion Chief 2 stuff here. Then we get into the Lion Chief sets. just your basic intro starter sets. Nothing super exciting here, but it's okay. Not bad. More sets. I have this set right here. That's a good set. I reviewed it a while back, the Super Chief set. And then we've got some diesel sets, not bad. Tier 4, which is kind of cool. The Tier 4 ET44, I guess. Is that what they call it? Then we got some Steam sets, typical, this is pretty usual stuff for the catalogs, these starter sets and stuff. I have no reason to buy those. If Lionel decides to send me one of these to review, maybe I'll do it, but we'll just have to see. Toy Story set. Now, there is one set in here that I do like, Frozen if you got a daughter or something, and it's the Star Trek set, and I'm thinking about getting it. Let me see if I can find it. Halloween stuff, Scooby-Doo. They've had this for a long time. Harry Potter, of course. I think it would be really cool. I hope someone from Lionel watches this. I think it would be really cool if they did an O-scale Legacy Harry Potter set. I would love that. I would order that in a heartbeat. I think a lot of people would. They haven't done it yet. I wish they would. So if anybody from Lionel watches this, that's my suggestion. Do a O-scale Legacy equipped top shelf Hogwarts Express. I think that would get a lot of response. Be even cooler if it was Vision Line or something. Okay, here's the Star Trek set. And I may order this just because I'm a big Star Trek fan. And it's absolutely ridiculous. What does a train have to do with Star Trek? But at the same time, it's kind of cool. They've got a Tribble car, a Romulan Ale tank car. They got a sick bay, a holodeck, a 10 forward car. And then they got a bunch of box cars, with Kirk and Picard and everything. I just watched the first episode of Star Trek Picard last weekend. I think the next episode just came out. And the first episode was good. I thought it was okay. And I am a lifelong Star Trek fan, so I'm very, when a new series comes out, I'm very skeptical usually, but it was actually pretty good. So, got a Budweiser Train, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's pretty much, all the stuff. They've got some more stuff, some, World War II stuff, some beer cars, and of course they've got the presidential cars somewhere in here. Yeah, there they are. I think they should do a Trump car if they haven't already. And these are those six-packs. I reviewed one of these six-packs a few weeks ago, the Csx Six-Pack, and these are the ones that are made in Vietnam. And I thought the quality was good. It's $150 for a six-pack. You can't beat that. And then we've got some personalized cars. And then we've got, their Christmas sets and so forth. And I'm not going to really go into the Christmas stuff right now, but yeah, it's pretty good. And they got their track and whatnot also. Yeah, that's my going over the Lionel catalog. I think the GS series, the Vision GS series, I think it's great. My only problem is that there's so many of them that I don't know which ones I'm going to order. And again, if I had to choose right this second, I would get the Pilot, and then I would probably get, where is it? The GS4 set. If I had to pick it right this second. But again, there's other ones that are in close contention, like the Chessie System 1 and the Golden State version and all that stuff. So, it's going to take, and this one with all the flags. So, in the end, gosh, this is going to be a really tough decision. And I'll just have to see. It's going to probably take me a few weeks to narrow it down. I'm not sure when the deadline is to order. If I had to guess, it's probably in a few weeks, probably March 1st or something. I don't know, but that's the catalog. And again, pre-ordering, very important. If you're new to the hobby and you don't know how it works, pre-order your catalogs. You pre-order your trains. When the catalog comes out, that's how you ensure you're going to get the train you want. And it also helps Lionel and the other manufacturers know how many to make. Oftentimes, you'll see an engine or something get cataloged, or a train set get cataloged. Not often, but every now and then, you'll see something get cataloged and then it never gets made. And the reason it never got made was because they didn't get enough orders. The most recent example I can think of is the brass hybrid that they just, the K2 or something like that. The brass hybrid that I reviewed not too long ago. And I reviewed it because they were trying to get more pre-orders and they just didn't get enough. And they had to cancel it because there just were not enough orders to justify the expense of making the engine, because making these engines is incredibly expensive. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I've been told that the tooling for an engine like this, the tooling, just the tooling needed to make it, can be up to $250,000 for the tooling. So that's why they charge $2,000 for the engine, because the tooling alone, let alone not even counting the labor costs to assemble it and paint it, but just the tooling, the master tooling needed to make the darn thing, can be, up to $250,000 if it's a really complicated engine like this. For a diesel engine, it's a little less, but then again, that's why diesels cost less. But it's very expensive to make these things. So pre-ordering is vital to making sure that the things you want to get end up getting made. Anyway, so that's the catalog. Let me go ahead and move the camera around, and then I'll take some questions. I'm going to detach this thing and put it back on. Okay, so as I'm putting the camera back on the mount to face me, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask, I'll be happy to answer them, assuming I can pick them out as they scroll by. All right. So, and what are we going on here? This is, I don't know, 42 minutes. Okay. Okay. All right, so I'm going to answer some questions here. How come people always tell you to get more Polar Express stuff? I have no idea. I never hear the end of it. You should get the Polar Express this. You should get the Polar Express. I've got all the Polar Express stuff I'm ever going to get right now. I've got the scale Polar Express and the scale cars, and I'm happy with that. Do I like any Christmas items that are in the catalog? I already have some Christmas trains, so I'm not gonna be ordering any this time around. And most of the stuff they have is nothing super new. So I don't think I'm gonna get any Christmas stuff. Didn't the ice cold express cars have an issue with the uncoupling tabs? The ice cold express cars had an issue with everything. They were just not well designed or well built cars. And, it's not often that I say stuff like that. I'm usually pretty lenient and pretty, I like to focus on the positive of stuff. But those ice cold express cars were just, they've always been trouble. I finally got the smoke unit car to work well enough that it actually looks okay. But just the other day, I was going to run one of them on a train for a product review I was doing, and I picked up the car and parts fell off, and now it's up in my garage where I have to glue some parts back on. They're just not well made. So it'll be interesting to see what the new ones are like. I'm going to talk to Dave at Lionel and ask him if they've made any improvements in the smoke unit, in the design of the car. We'll have to see. I'm hoping at the very least the new smoking reefers should at least have the new design for the trucks that Lionel's been using in recent years. Those are much better. So I would think at the very least the trucks will at least be better than the ones on the old one, but we'll have to see. Like I said, I may just order one out of sheer morbid curiosity to see what they've improved on. And when I get that, I'll do a review and we can compare the two and see where it stacks up. Have I ever tried Hornby locos? Hornby usually makes stuff for European railroading, like a European O-gauge. They don't make a lot of American railroads. It's mainly European stuff, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I don't have any Hornby trains right now. That being said, I've always liked European trains, and I would like to, if I had the space, I would definitely try to do some European railroading, because European O-scale is a whole different animal. On my Twitter, one of the few people on Twitter that I follow is this girl over in, I think she's in England, Jane My Trains, and she has a really cool European, British O-scale thing going, and I like that stuff. And if money was no object and if space was no object, I certainly would branch into that at some point. A Legacy Flying Scotsman, that would be cool. I wish Lionel and MTH would do more. Well, MTH already does European trains, but I wish it'd be cool if Lionel did some. Knowing Lionel, they probably would not get it. They probably would not get it completely 100% accurate, and then people would be really upset. But it'd be cool if they did. I'd also like to see it I'd like to see more trains from the 1800s. Most of the trains that have come out that are representative of 1800s are usually starter sets and stuff like that. The only one that is coming out in the near future that is full O scale is the Golden Spike set, the Golden Spike locomotives. And I did order those, and I think they're supposed to arrive in sometime this spring, like May or June or something like that. But I wish they would do more stuff from the 1800s. I think that would be really cool. Do I have a GS4 already? Yeah, I do. I have a non-Vision Line one, and that is a factor in what I'm going to order. I already do have a couple GS locomotives, and so I'm not starting from scratch. So again, that will affect what I order. Who makes seated passengers for Lionel and MTH passenger cars? That's a good question. There's two ways you can go with this, and I've talked about it in my videos where I put passengers in the cars. The nice passengers are made by Golden Gate Depot, and they're called Little People. And I think you get about 30 people to a pack, and it's about $20. And they're very nice seated passengers. They're a bit dated. I mean, they do look like they're from yesteryear, but that's okay. And they look nice. They look. I don't know if I have any. Hang on a second. Let me see if I have some. Oh, I do. Look at that. What do you know? So, when it comes to seated passengers in your cars, these are the Little People from Golden Gate Depot. The label's missing up top, but it costs about $20 for these, I believe. And there's a whole bunch of seated passengers, and they look really nice. There's men and women, very nice. So I get those, and then I mix with them cheap seated passengers that you can get on eBay. And these are the ones that you get on eBay, and they're very cheap. They come from China. You can see there's Chinese writing on the back. They are painted, but the painting is a bit sloppy at times, so you may have to do some touch-up work. But they're insanely cheap. I mean, like a bag of 100 of them, you know, will be something like $20 or something. So what I'll do is I'll mix the nice figures in with the cheap figures. And that's usually how I do it. You know, if it's a car, and what I'll try to do is if you know, like the figures that are right up next to the window that you might see easily, for those I'll use the nicer figures. And then for ones that are not next to the window or walking in the aisles or in the bathroom or something, I'll use the cheap figures right here. And I've got a whole bunch of them. There's another bag of them here. If you go on eBay and just search, and I got a whole box of them here. So if you go on eBay and just search for O-scale seated figures, you'll find a ton of them. And they're very cheap, but the two downsides are the paint job is not perfect. And the plastic sometimes is not perfect, so you will have to do a little bit of touch-up work on them sometimes. And then the other thing is that they're coming from China, so they do take a while to get here. You know, they'll usually take a few weeks to get here. But those are the seated figures. You can buy seated figures made by MTH and Lionel, but they're very expensive, and the packages are very small. You know, it'll be like $20 for 6 figures, and it's like, what good is that? You know, I want to get a whole bunch of these and do a whole bunch of cars at once. So, all right, let's see here. Will you be reviewing the Vision Line Challengers? I think I already talked about this. I will be showing them. The reason why I haven't yet is because I wanted to show. I got 2 of the new Challengers, and I have one of the original Vision Line Challengers, and I wanted to show all 3 of them together. However, the original Vision Line Challenger that I have, I accidentally fried the soundboard a few months ago. Probably, well, closer to a year ago now. And I have to order a new soundboard, and the soundboard is expensive. It's like $200 or something. So I haven't gotten around to it yet. But as soon as I get that soundboard and get it installed and get it working again, I will do a video with all the Challengers, and that should be a lot of fun. It'll be fun to triple head the Vision Line Challengers. That should be fun. And of course, I know there's always someone who says the soundboard got fried. That darn Lionel, it's all their fault. That's all that cheap stuff and blah blah blah, and they want to attack, you know. And the truth is, I fried the soundboard. I had the shell off the engine, and I was working on something, and I touched the wrong thing, and I fried the soundboard. So I accept full responsibility for that. Okay, let's see here. Do I still have a Vision Challenger 49er? Yeah, and you'll see it when I review the Challengers. Hey, Eric, can you add a school bus to your layout? Yeah, if I can find an O-scale school bus, sure, I'll put it on there. Have I ever converted a silhouette passenger car interior with seats and windows? No, I haven't. I haven't. That'd be an interesting project, but I haven't done that. When is episode 81 coming? I don't know. I just did 80, so 81. I'm not sure. I don't know what it'll be about. I do want to do. I do want to do part 3 of there was a series I was doing where I was doing my non-train hobbies. And I never did part 3, which was going upstairs to my my camping gear room and showing everyone that. And I do want to do that. And the reason I want to do that is because I started another channel not too long ago that is more It's called Kit Bash Survival, and it has like, it's about survival kits and outdoor gear and stuff like that. And so I wanted to do part 3 of the series on this channel to sort of kick off that other channel. So that other channel has about 20 something videos on it now, and I'm doing more videos as time goes on, and I'm trying to get some subscribers on there, and so I would like to do part 3 of that series on this channel so that I can sort of promote that other channel. The other channel is called Kit Bashed Survival, and if you want to check it out, I'll put there's a link to it in most of my videos these days. If you go in the video description at the bottom, you'll see it. It'll say, you know, my other channel, and you can click on that and check it out. Let's see here, but train wise, I don't know what the next episode. I just filmed the video today. That's Eric's Trains Express Volume 13. I just filmed that earlier today. That will probably be ready for Patreon supporters later today or tomorrow, and then I'll release it to the public probably on Tuesday or Wednesday. Let's see here. A few more questions. Eric, do you have a hotbox reefer car? I do not. I do not have one of those. Hey, Eric, I'm sorry. What did I miss? You missed everything. I gave away 10 trains to viewers, and you could have gotten one of them. I gave away all of my Vision Line engines, and I had a raffle for a $10,000 cash prize. You missed that. You missed the whole thing. Let's see here. Where's Chessie? Chessie's upstairs right now. He was pawing at the door a while ago, making noise, but he's done now. Are you going to add more crossing signals to your layout? Yeah, I've been lagging on that for a while, just because it's a lot of work to add them, and I had one working, and then I accidentally broke it, and I haven't put it back up, and that's one of those things I've been wanting to do for a long time, get some good signals going, crossing signals, but I haven't done it. I am going to be doing a review of some new signals that are being made by a guy here in America. They're made here in America. They're 3D printed. And the name of them is, hang on a second, let me see if I can find one of them. He sent me a few samples, but they may be upstairs. I gotta look. So give me 2 seconds. Well, I can't find it, but this guy who's making these signals here in the U.S., he's 3D printing them. He has sent me a couple samples that I need to review, and those are pretty cool, and I'll show those to you in the near future. Will I be doing any more Menards reviews? Yes. I have so much stuff from Menards to review that I have to space it out, because if I did them all at once, I think people would get upset. So I'm having to sort of intersperse them in between other reviews. I've got a pile of stuff from Menards to review, which is a good problem to have. But yeah, there is more coming. Let's see here. Are you going to review the Lionel Lincoln funeral train? That was done several years ago. That's not a new thing. I think I might have done a video on it, because I've shown it in a couple videos, but I'm not going to be doing a review on it, because it was put out many years ago, and there's not a pressing need to do a review. You know, maybe one day if I get around to it, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. If I didn't already review it, I can't remember if I reviewed it or not. I've got over 400 videos on YouTube, so sometimes it's hard for me to remember what I have and have not reviewed. Um, let's see here. Have I ever tried Bachmann locos? Or I say it Bachmann. Yeah, I have some of. I don't. I have some of their ON30 locomotives, and I'd like to start reviewing some of the ON30 stuff. I just haven't gotten around to it, but I do like the ON30 stuff, and I'm talking to someone at Bachmann right now about reviewing some of their stuff. So we'll see what happens. Do I think Lionel should make Cuban steam locomotives? Well, it'd be interesting if they did. I don't know if they would sell many of them. I mean, I'd love it if they would do Russian locomotives and Chinese locomotives. I would love it if they would do locomotives from all over the world. But are they going to do it? Probably not. Will I do a video on just a running session? Well, I do running videos every now and then, though. I think the last time I did one was on Thanksgiving Day, I think, where I ran some trains. So I do that from time to time. I'm not doing it today, but from time to time I do that. Okay, I'm going to do two more questions, and then I'll wrap it up by showing you some stuff that I'm about to review, and then we'll call it a day. Let's see here. Will you be doing more EMD SD40 reviews? Yeah, that. Okay, so originally there should have been a new product review up today for people to see of a Lionel SD40-2 that I reviewed. I filmed the review about a week or so ago, and it was all ready to put up on for Patreon and then later for public. And while I was editing it, I realized that there was a major problem with the video. There was a problem with the video that has forced me to go back and reshoot basically everything. And so the SD40-2 review is kind of in a bad spot right now. So it's finished, but now I'm having to go back and reshoot it all, and it's a giant pain in the butt. And one of the problems with the video, there was a couple problems that I just didn't realize at the time, but there was on the SD40, there was a loose part that was very visible when I watched it later when I was editing the video. But when I was filming it, I just didn't notice it. And I wasn't about to put up a product review with a part hanging off. And so I fixed it, but now I have to reshoot every scene of that engine. And it's just, I was so mad about that. That happens every now and then when you're shooting these reviews. Is you get the whole video done, you go to edit it, you're previewing it, and you see something, and you're just like, oh my gosh, and then you have to go back and redo the whole thing just because one little thing is not right on it. And you don't want to put it up, because if you put it up like that, people will just go bananas saying, what is that part hanging off for? And I was so mad about it. So that's the SD40 story. Okay, I'll do one more question. Have I ever thought about buying the Blue Comet? I do have a standard gauge tin plate Blue Comet. I don't have an O gauge Blue Comet. Maybe I'll get one day. I'll do one more question. That's a big question. Let me see here. What got you into 3-rail O scale over other scales? It's just what I started off with. My first train set that I ever had when I was a little kid was an HO set. But by the time I got a little bit older, and when I had the HO set, that was when I was like 4 or 5 years old. By the time I got to be about 8 or 9 years old, I was exposed to my dad's Lionel post-war set, and that was what got me on the track for three rail on the track. That was what got me on the path for three rail, and I've been on that ever since. So, a house tour. No, I'm not going to do a house tour. All right, last question. I love these questions when people ask them, and it's stuff that I talked about earlier in the video. This guy says, "Are you buying any of the Vision Line GS stuff?" And it's like, well, I just spent the first 45 minutes of this video talking about that, but okay. So what aspect of the hobby do you like best? For example, building models, running trains, collecting, etc. This may sound weird, but I'm probably not alone. Probably my favorite aspect of this hobby is not running the trains. I do enjoy running them, but that's not my favorite part about the hobby. My favorite part about the hobby is probably building the layout, doing scenery, building that big bridge that's in the middle of my layout, building mountains and tunnels and stuff like that. That's the stuff I really enjoy the most. And I think probably a lot of people feel that way. That's not to say I don't like running the trains. I love running the trains, but for me, the fun part is the building of the layout and laying track and making sure everything's working right, and doing scenery and stuff like that. That's where the real satisfaction comes in. Like building that big bridge that goes across the layout. I mean, that was super satisfying. I mean, that was one of those times where, when I was planning it, I didn't know if it would ever work right. And then when it was finally done, it was so much better than I ever thought it would be. And that's where the real satisfaction comes in, is in the creativity and building something and making something. Running trains, I like it, but for me, it's the creative process that's the most fun. So anyway, that's the last question I'm going to do. So I'm going to show you some things that I'm going to be reviewing soon. This is the new bipolar. You saw that in episode 81. That I'm in the process of reviewing along with the state set bipolar set. And I ran this during my last live show. So there's that. And then I'm also going to be reviewing the new 16, and then I'm also going to film a review for it. So that is on the way as well. And there was the SD42 review, but that is sort of in hiatus while I fix it. So, and then there's also this one, the MTH turbine here. I'm going to be reviewing that soon as well. I'm also writing a review for it for the magazine. This thing is gigantic. Look at that thing. I mean, it's like dun 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 dun. And that thing it's huge. It's huge. So that's that. I'm not going to run any trains because I'm not really set up to do it right now, because I'm filming some reviews and I don't have anything really set up to run right now. But I'll do a running session later when I actually have something good to run. So that's that. I think that's going to be it. I wanted to talk about the catalog today, and we did that. And I also wanted to do some Q&A, so there's that. And hopefully by the time I do the next live show, I'll be able to do what I wanted to do today and do multiple cameras where I can switch inputs and switch between my desktop and this camera, and also, a camera on the way out and stuff like that. And then we can have some really good fun running some trains. So that'll be hopefully in the near future. I'm going to work on that, and then I'd like for the next live show to be like that. So, but anyway, I think that's about it for now. Thanks for showing up today on this Saturday. I hope everyone's having a good weekend, and a good start to February. And that'll do it for now. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.